One of the best ways to get a conversation started is to use humor. This will help take the awkwardness out of a conversation, which will make it more enjoyable. There are many different ways to use humor in a conversation, and it's important that you use your own personal style when doing so. One way is to use jokes. The first thing to do when you want to tell a joke is to make sure that it is appropriate for the audience's age group. You should also consider the time of day and the mood of the audience. A good joke usually has 3 parts: setup, punchline, and tag. The setup sets up the expectation for what will come next. Then the punchline surprises people with an unexpected twist or turn. And finally, there's a tag that brings it all together at the end. Another way that humor can be added to conversations is by telling stories about funny things that have happened in your life. These stories should not include any pain or awkwardness, but instead, focus on the lighter side of life. After you start the conversation, it can feel awkward, or not know how to respond in a conversation. It is important to be prepared for these moments and have a response ready for any situation. The following are some phrases you can use when you are unsure what to say in a conversation. What do you do? What have you been up to lately? What's your favorite thing about your job? And when people start answering your question, you should be a good listener. It is not always easy to be a good listener. We often get distracted by what we want to say or what we are thinking about. We might also be in a hurry and want to wrap up the conversation as soon as possible. To be a good listener, you need to focus on the other person and show them that you are listening. One way of doing this is by asking questions. There are many different ways to ask a question, but it is important that you have some basic guidelines when doing so. First, ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are ones that can't be answered with just one word or sentence, and instead require thoughtful discussion. This type of question will encourage conversations, which will help you learn more about the other person and their thoughts, opinions, and feelings on a given topic. For example, what is your favorite type of ice cream? What do you want to be when you grow up? Second, ask for clarification. If a person has said something that you don't fully understand, it's important to ask for clarification so that everyone is on the same page and there is no confusion later on in the conversation. For example, "What does this mean?" is a great way to re-clarify what the person said in a less confrontational manner. Third, ask follow-up questions. Follow-up questions are ones that build off of what was just said. It is a great way to ensure that you fully understand what the other person is trying to communicate. Ask them, "What did you mean by that?" Or, "How does this relate to what we discussed?" Another way to be a good listener is to look people in the eye when speaking with them. It's not just about being polite, it is a part of how we communicate. People use eye contact to gauge whether or not you are paying attention and listening to what they are saying. Eye contact also helps us read each other's emotions. It can tell us if someone is bored, sad, angry, happy, or frustrated. Eye contact can also help us understand if they have a problem with what we're saying as well as how much they agree with our point of view. It's important to maintain eye contact because it builds trust and makes the conversation more enjoyable for everyone involved. After using all the tips, it may still be silent during a conversation. Don't be afraid of silence in a conversation. You may feel like you have to say something, anything just to keep the conversation going. This is often not true though. As long as you are giving your partner in the conversation time to think and respond, you don't have to worry about awkward silences. It's important to know that there is no such thing as an awkward silence. There is only a pause in which you may be waiting for your conversational partner to speak next or thinking about what you want to say next. It's okay if the other person doesn't talk, It doesn't mean they're bored or uninterested in what you're saying. They may be thinking of how they want to respond too. Finally, having a good conversation isn't that hard but does require some work. Follow these tips to keep your conversation fresh and interesting and make an effort to implement them into your life. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please subscribe and give it a like. It helps the channel.